Hey traders, gonna run through the market internal review for July 17th, 2023. So today we had a really good TiWAP setup using the strategy of first deviation break. We'll cover that here in a little bit, but to go into the morning session here, we pretty much opened up where we ended last week. And even though we had a choppy delivery here, I think overall it agreed with the internals. We started off with a red ADD and VOLD, but a bullish 20 SMA trend on both. We did show a imbalance per trend with the negative tick extremes here right at the open, not really agreeing with the price, but a flat trend here on the average closures for tick. We did see a little bit of bullish tick here on this nice engulf candle, short-lived though, and just overall this whole range here pretty nasty. But I'm basically sitting here watching this standard deviation low from Friday excuse me from Friday's session and the TiWAP from Friday's session here. So until I saw one of those kind of break there, I'm just not really doing much. It is a 70-cent range. We've got a 0.86 and what is this, 0.14. The hope for me though was watching this average tick closure cross over. We're seeing a green ADD here and still an imbalance. So I'm watching to see a reclaim of this previous TiWAP here of 44986, and that was delivered. So we had that. We had a green VOLD at one point, green trends, and overall just looking like we're going to go higher. And what was exciting about that is we reclaimed this TiWAP price from Friday, and then we had nice clear targets to the upside. So this was something I haven't had in a past few trading sessions because of all the insane gaps that we've had. So overall, a bullish day, not a whole lot of progress overall. I think the price, $1.50. So I'm not sure what the ATR is on SPY. I haven't checked it out in quite some time, but we've had some pretty insane days, and then to have that was kind of, I guess maybe just a little bit more relaxing overall, just not a straight ripper in one direction or another. Your previous standard deviation lines here, you can see, provided pretty clear signals of resistance and or support depending on where we ended up and how we arrived there. We had a clear TiWAP bounce roughly right about here at 12:30, one of our favorite times on this channel anyways. So TiWAP reclaim, or a retest rather, with a trend imbalance, green and ADD VOLD bands. The trend's a little choppy, but even up here at the reclaim of this level, 455, that would have been a pretty good scalp right there. And then we get this insane candle here at the end of the day. Although you can see that we had a trend balance indication roughly right about here. And what's interesting about that is when the trend balance started to when it ended, we only moved 29 cents as far as the actual price closure from the start of the balance. So yes, we had this really nice move, almost made it to the third deviation from previous Friday's close, standard deviation level. So that was really insane. But yeah, that we gave it all back, and I think that's indicative of the balance. And you can see here we're flipping tick extremes, low and high, 500 breaks. So this was a pretty good indication that whatever you were going to try to take it quick. And you can see the ads just flipping back and forth like crazy pretty much all day actually. And as I just mentioned in the video I put out last night for last Friday, when you see this ad trend flipping back and forth, you can pretty much be guaranteed that it's ranging on the ad. So we'll go take a look at that here in a moment. The tick levels. So strong tick level support right off the open here. And you can see that's essentially right where we bounced in this chop. Then we got another one here. And this one was thick because we spent a majority of our time right around here. So interesting. Almost evenly spaced tick levels today. Here, here, here. 5 of them again. So I've been seeing a lot more tick levels. But I think that's just from the gaps that we've created overnight and then not really moving much during the day. Today was kind of another one of those days, even though there was no gap. I think per my Sunday video I released, I was leaning bearish coming into today. And if we go look at the naked charts on the internals, I still kind of am leaning that way. But, you know, this is a interesting market right now, so perhaps we just won't see that. Time will tell. So to go over the TiWAP entry based on the strat video that I published maybe a month ago now, the first standard deviation breakouts and retests. Now I'll be the first to admit today was incredibly noisy. Technically there was breaks and retests all throughout here and here. I really wanted to see us hold this tick level. I wanted to see us hold this TiWAP from Friday, and then kind of shoot my shot. And I'm watching the ADD and the VOLD kind of flip full bullish, and I'm seeing that tick average closures cross up over 0, and I'm just taking it. And I think it was somewhere right around here. I took that off this little candle pattern here. These 3 candle patterns, this doji here, reclaiming this, right? Nice strong candle. I mean, not as strong as this one, but you can see the rest of the day it was kind of the same thing. So I had to kind of ignore that candle in a way. But then I targeted for a potential take profit 2 standard deviation levels above that. So it was a long hold. Now these 2 candles here, I used contracts on SPY with 1 day to expiration, and I was lagging my stop loss. It's difficult for me to determine where in relation to TiWAP where the contract stop loss should drag along with the TiWAP as it moves up. And you can see it was moving up quite aggressively once we really started to take off. I'm going to move this tool over here. But yeah, so we were roughly about there. I didn't do a great job, and so this really insane wick here knocked me out. But I did hit my first profit target, so I took it, but I still tracked the trade, and I was logging the journey throughout the day on Twitter, and we hit our final profit target here. So like I said, the real entry was right about here, and this tool kind of sucks for these wicks, but I think it was around 10:58. It might have been even earlier than that. I think it might have been, but either way, it was an all-day trade. We finally hit that last target at 3:18, and this also had coincided with previous high a day. So Friday's high price, roughly speak, well, it was actually the top of the wick here. But yeah, so it was right under the actual high a day from Friday. So that gave me a lot of confidence to hold that trade, and I wish that these wicks hadn't have taken me out. This would have taken me out. So I think in the future I'm just going to have to keep my stop loss where it is and just watch the chart or set an alert or something. But yeah, this is the strat. Break and retest the first standard deviation. On days where the price is being delivered like this, you may need to add a couple of different ingredients for confluence, like tick levels, previous TiWAP. Find a way to determine that there is sentiment in your favor for your trade before you enter. I did keep my risk slightly less on this trade, about 2/3, given this price delivery and given what I was seeing on trend here. So trend was selling off, or rather reducing its indicator value, but we were heading towards the imbalance zone. So we were heading towards the balance zone. So whenever we head there, there's usually a bounce of some kind. And then when that bounces, then we potentially could break aggressively back down, or SPY could hold up, the rest of the market could hold up, and we'll see that calculation on trend make an aggressive correction to break through the balance zone into the opposite zone, depending on which direction we're heading. In this case, the bullish zone. That did not occur, even though we did bounce here. Let's see, that was at 10:58. We can go look and see what SPY was at 10:58. Oh gosh, that was pretty early. Well, that was right about, yeah, I think I entered over here actually. So it was kind of messy, but let's see. Maybe it was around here. I'll have to go pull up all my tweets now so I can see the actual times. Well, around 1 o'clock. Yeah, that would have been around here somewhere. I guess that's another point that I will bring up, though, is that you can see through MIT that trend spent a lot of time not being present. We had certainly a couple blocks here and here where there was not an indication of balance or an imbalance. And when you have that, that is also another indication to me to dial back the risk. So those are just my kind of rules. You do not have to follow those, obviously. I always recommend you do your own due diligence and determine how you want to trade. Maybe you don't want to use the first standard deviation breaks. Maybe you want to use the second or third, which would be insane. Or you want to do rejection setups, or maybe you want to do a TiWAP reclaim and bounce. So there's all kinds of ways you can use this. It's just the way that I've back tested them. Let's see. So the ad chart, bingo, as I mentioned, basically range bound. I would say mostly within here. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little messy. We didn't have our breakout. And this was another reason for reduced risk, is we started below zero. So this would be weak bearish. And we blitz up here to weak bullish. And as we catch up to that 20 SMA, I was really looking for a breakout. I think there was a tweet I had sent that I was looking for a breakout around this 500, 600 area. And we kind of maybe had it right about here, but it just didn't hold. And I'll show you the other index charts, and you'll be able to see a little bit of what was going on. Then VOLD, mostly doing the same thing. It was a slightly more strong-ish uptrend. It wasn't very strong. We started in bearish. We hit up to bullish, kind of the same way that ADD did, albeit they meandered quite a lot more. But we held a more consistent upwards trend. But you can see that we did not really reach any strong sentiment from VOLD, bullish or bearish. And if you've been watching these videos for any amount of time, you should be able to pick up on how rare that is from what we've been experiencing the past, I don't even know how long. Like we had one day that was somewhat like that, but we actually still managed to make it into the bearish zone. The rest of these days, we're all deep into one side or the other. There has not been a day where it's been mixed. Okay, save for, I guess, Wednesday. It's going to make me a liar now. But yeah, just it's not been very common. I guess we had a couple days. Well, no, these days in June, they're hitting, even this one. Yeah, so that was the one thing I noticed. It just seemed like overall a weaker day. Now, given that, I'm still holding my bearish setup. Oh, what happened here? Making everybody on cell phone sick now. But yeah, I'm still holding my bearish sentiment. Again, as I've said, I will use the intraday data to make my trades. I don't care what my higher time frame bias is. If I see an opportunity intraday that goes against it, and everything shows me that's a proper setup per my rules, I'm going to take it every time. So this was a little surprising to see, but this is still really nasty as far as price delivery. Not nearly as bad as Friday with the engulfs past about 11 o'clock. We started to see a little smoother, albeit small and slow, but smoother price action. So we head over to the Russ. Here we see Russ making a very aggressive move. Right out of the gate, they move almost $2, $1.84, $2 by almost 10:30, not quite 11 o'clock. So we saw the Russ the other day head down, right, aggressively right out of the open, almost $3. So then here they are today, inverting that curve, and almost in the same amount of time. This was what, by 10:40, almost 11, same thing then. So by the same amount of time, they basically reverse this entire range. So as I mentioned in the last video, I actually did trade the Russell. It had the most agreement with the trend on ADD and VOLD and the tick, and we had the imbalance, and I saw the heat here. It was holding TiWAP from Friday, so I actually did grab calls. Now I think I got out somewhere around here, and they don't move as great as as SPY, even though I captured roughly $2. It didn't really produce that much profit, but it was still decent, and I think that's just because it's half the price of SPY, not even. So I think I probably should have grabbed more contracts, just not thinking, I guess, and habitually I have my contract size that I use for SPY. But anyway, so yeah, so you see the Russ, how it's moving so strong, but SPY is not. So this is where I'm looking at ADD and VOLD, and I'm assessing that what I'm seeing is a divergence between small cap, medium, large mega caps, and what is going on with ADD and VOLD is they're drawing the difference between all of these. So you can see the Dow is on an uptrend, and it's mainly being quite aggressive. I mean, we did have this drop here, but let's see, by 10:48, I guess it moved 87 cents. It's not that aggressive, but it didn't really have any sell-off. It made a pretty good overall move on the day. Let's see, $1.28. Was that more than SPY? I don't remember. We'll go look at it. But the Qs was also quite strong with its trend. I think it had a little better day than SPY, so almost $3, not quite. But same kind of theme with the spot as with SPY, as the TiWAP from Friday, oscillating around that, holding those tick levels, and then doing their breakouts off of the standard deviations. Same TiWAP retest about 12:30, and then hitting that previous day's second deviation high price. That was 383.2. They actually gave less back once the imbalance crept into the market, or balance rather. Gosh, I gotta quit messing that up. So yeah, from the time we reached balance per trend, we still moved another $1.35. So that's pretty strong versus SPY. Yeah, the Dow actually moved a little bit more than SPY. All right, so trying to keep these faster because I know people don't have the same kind of attention spans that I do for these details, but couple points to note. So the monthly TiWAP when we're looking at monthly TiWAP, notice what we're struggling to break back through, that second deviation that we were with all those gaps and the momentum we had. So we lost it. We were claiming some of it, and that nasty candle that we had, well, nasty for the bears, I guess, that broke us right back over, but then we came right back in. So that was pretty interesting to see. So still, again, I'm holding my bearish sentiment, but intraday, just use what you see intraday. Try not to let your bias hold you back from taking quality trades with whatever it is you use, if it's the internals and however you use them or whatever else. It's always important to keep your bias in check. But yeah, I would say SPY was actually more in agreement with the ad, because right at 150 is when ad flipped bearish, and then we had that bear flip. But it didn't manifest with the same weakness as the rest of the New York Stock Exchange. So quite interesting. So tomorrow's goal for me is, let's see if we hold today's ending TiWAP price of 450. So if we can hold that, then we've got all these levels: 451, 0.9, almost 452, 452 and a half, and 451. Oh, sorry, no, I'm reading. Yeah, 451 and 449, almost 449.7, almost 450. Those are going to be the levels to watch for me tomorrow. And then I'll be very curious if trend opens up in a balance, or if it opens up down here. So that'll be interesting to see. All right, that's going to wrap it up, folks. Not much else to say. I do think today was weak overall, given ADD and VOLD. So just pay attention to that coming into the market tomorrow. Sector rotation stuff has been paramount for observing how the morning open session should be read, in my opinion. Definitely keep an eye on Russ. Russ has been pushing things around, which is crazy, given what, it's the Russ. But yeah, I just think with the economics, the small caps are definitely the ones that have been hurt the most. We know the big tech names they've been ripping, so they're not hurting. And the Dow names, a lot of those are doing okay. Chips, I've been hearing a couple things about chips again. The government is doing things with chips in China and easing up on restrictions. So NVIDIA, AMD, Micron, keep an eye on those. Those are big names, especially with NVIDIA. It's ridiculous PE right now. That's definitely going to move things around. You can see SMH here is just been a machine today. This actually would have been an amazing TiWAP trade. Very little weakness. Man. Yeah, I'm going to watch that tomorrow. All right, folks. I don't think I really kept this any shorter than the other one, so apologies. Leave comments. Follow me on Twitter. I would love to converse with anybody that's actually using this stuff. I know there's a handful of folks that are hitting me up, so I know people are using it. Feel free to reach out. Otherwise, thank you for watching and happy trading.